Hi everyone! I'm going to teach you today how to finger knit. Finger knitting is a really good thing to learn when you're sitting inside on a rainy day and things like that because it's very relaxing and you can work on it for a long time and make something very, very long, like as long as your whole house. And the longer you make it, if you make it super, super long, then you can even finger knit your finger knitting and keep going. So you can make things like scarves, necklaces, headbands, bracelets. So to start, I'm going to take 2 pieces of yarn because if I have 2 pieces of yarn, it makes it thicker. And since our fingers are kind of thick, they're thicker than knitting needles, it makes it look a little bit better if you use 2 pieces of yarn at once. So I have my 2 pieces of yarn and I like to take it from the middle of the yarn because it makes it a little bit less knots. So I'm going to take 2 pieces together and I'm going to hold them in between my thumb and the side of my hand. And then the end is just going to come right out here in my palm. So my thumb and my side of my hand, and I'm just going to hold it right in between there. Then I'm going to take the yarn that's attached to the ball and I'm going to come around the back of my pointer finger, then over my middle finger, under my ring finger, and over my pinky. So I went under, over, over. Now I'm going to go around the back of my pinky and I'm going to go under, over, over. So on each finger you should have 1 loop. Now and I'm going to keep holding this right here until I've gotten a little bit farther. And once I have kind of like a string coming back here, I can take this off of my finger. But I'm going to hold it here for now because I still haven't finished this row yet. So to finish the row, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm going to go under my pointer finger, over my middle finger, under my ring finger, and over my pinky. And come back the other way again. So loop around the back of my pinky, under, over, over. So now I have 2 loops on each finger. This one's a little bit, there we go. 2 loops on each finger. And I'm going to start with my pointer finger and I'm going to pull the bottom loop over the top loop. And it helps if you bend your finger and kind of guide it over your finger by bending it. So I'm going to pull the bottom loop over the top loop. Bottom loop over the top loop, bottom loop over the top loop. So now I have my first row and it'll kind of look like this on the back. So I'm going to take my yarn again that's attached to the back of my pointer finger and I'm going to loop it around my pointer finger, over, under. Then I'm going to go back the other way, over my pinky because I looped it around, under, over, under. And I'm just going to hold this here for now. Now, try and think of what I do with these loops. I now have 2 loops on here. I'm going to pull the bottom one over the top. So I'm going to start again with my pointer finger, bottom over the top, bottom over the top, bottom over the top, bottom over the top. So now you can see that it's starting to get a little bit bigger. And I'm going to drop this piece now, the tail. We like to call that the tail. And it can just sit back here. It won't come undone. You might want to knot it at the end, but it can stay back there for now. So now I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to go around my pointer finger, over, under, and back the other way, over, under. And I can hold this here, and I'm going to take the bottom over the top. So I'll start here, bottom over the top, bottom over the top. And if you pull this down a little bit, you can see how long it's starting to get. So I kind of stretched it out a little bit, and you can see I've done 3 rows. So you just keep doing that under, over, and you want to make sure if it looks like this, you might have done something wrong because we ended on the pinky, but we need to always end on the pointer finger. So I need to come back the other way. If not all the fingers have 2 loops on them, then you have to make sure that you went back the other way to your pointer finger. You should always end and start on your pointer finger. So we're going to pull bottom over the top, bottom over the top. And then we're going to start with the pointer finger again, over, under, over, under. And I like to keep my first row down at the bottom of my finger so I don't get confused. And then I'm going to go around my pinky, over, under, bottom, over the top. You can start with your pinky if you want to, but sometimes I try and keep it the same every time so that I remember what I'm doing. But you always want to make sure that your yarn when you end is on your pointer finger. So there it starts to go. You can also do this if you wanted to with only 2 fingers or with only 3 fingers. Usually you can't really use your thumb, but you could try it out. It might be a good challenge. But if you continue to make this very, very long, if you make a whole ball of finger knit out of it, then you can go back and finger knit your finger knitting and it'll be even thicker. So maybe I'll do another video of that. But for now, we're going to stick with this. And when you're done, I'm going to pretend that this is longer than this and it's going to be a scarf. And I feel like I'm done. So I'm going to take my pinky one and I'm going to put it onto my ring finger so that there's 2 on my ring finger and none on my pinky. Then I'm going to take the bottom one and pull it over the top one. Then I'm going to take this one, put it onto my middle finger. Now I have 2 on here, pull the bottom over the top. And then do the same thing. So I'm going to move this one onto here, pull this over this. And then here, I can just cut this. I'm going to go grab some scissors. And I'll just cut this like about this long. So now I only have this much left. And I'm just going to pull this end right through the loop here. So I'm going to pull both of these ends through that loop. And if I pull it tight and tie it, it'll make a knot. You might have to have someone help you with the knot. And there you go. And you can even, if you wanted to make a necklace, you can tie your first end to your second end. So maybe this can be a bracelet.